Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 7, the semi-finals of the Debatables 2.0, which is being organized by the Somaiya Debating Society in collaboration with TEDxSomaiyaVidyavihar. I'm Madhura Kale, and I'll be your presiding officer. Arjun will be chairing this debate. I hope that format is clear to you all. I'll go over it very quickly. First up, we'll have the first speaker from the proposition, followed by the first speaker from the opposition. Both these speeches will be of 5 minutes each. This will be followed by a rebuttal round, which will be 8 minutes long, after which we'll have the second speaker from the proposition, followed by the second speaker from the opposition. Again, these speeches will be of 5 minutes each. Speakers, please note that you'll only have 5 minutes to put forward your arguments, after which you'll only get 15 seconds to wrap up your entire speech. Anything you'll say after this will not be considered by the chair. Lastly, we'll have the concluding speech from the proposition, followed by the concluding speech from the opposition. Both these speeches will be of 3 minutes each. Alright, so with that done, I would like the speakers to introduce themselves. First speaker from the proposition, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Shreyam Bora. I'm a second year engineering student and I will be the first speaker for the proposition.
Thank you, speaker. Can we have the second speaker from the proposition to introduce themselves?
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Jeet Savardekar and I'm a second year computer engineering student as well, and I'll be the second speaker of the proposition.
Thank you, speaker. Now can we have the first speaker from the opposition to introduce themselves?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Harshida Dubey. I'm third year student BCom and I'll be speaking in the opposition.
Thank you, speaker. Now can we have the second speaker from the opposition to introduce themselves, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Fatima and I'm first year student arts KJ Somaiya College.
Thank you, speaker. Alright, so I'll just share the timer with you guys so it would be easier to keep the track of your speeches. Guys, please do join the live. So I hope the timer is visible. Now I would like to call upon the first speaker from the proposition to open the debate. Speaker, please start whenever. I'll start the timer.
Yeah, I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone present here. So essentially today we have a motion which basically tells us that, which shows that we regret the narrative that hard work will lead to financial success. Now, let's talk about the two keywords here, which is hard work and financial success. Now, we first obviously need to define what we mean by financial success and what is necessary for a person to actually achieve that financial success that we're talking about. Now, when we talk about financial success, it's obviously you having a lot of money. But you need to understand when you talk about just financial success, reaching that level and reaching that specific milestone, it's not just one thing which you do, and it's the amalgamation of multiple things which come into it. Now we talk about hard work. Obviously, hard work is obviously not the main ingredient that you need for financial success, but it's essential to the recipe. Now the financial success that you need to achieve, it requires mostly three things: the hard work, the luck or circumstance where you find yourself in, whether you talk to the right people or you find yourself at the right place at the right time, which is your luck or circumstance, and finally you actually having a talent and the knack of doing whatever you're doing at. You can't expect that you are successful in a field which you don't have any idea about. You actually need to have the talent to achieve that level of success. Now obviously we understand what success is. Coming to what hard work is, how do you actually classify hard work? How do you say that, oh, I am doing hard work? Or how do I say, is Jeet doing hard work? I think it's essential to understand that hard work is quite relative in terms of the work that a person is doing, right? So, for example, a person can be working hard. He might be doing manual labor. He works 13 hours a day, and I'll say that he is doing hard work. But at the same time, a person who is developing, say, a website, he also works for 13 hours a day, but the level of work which they both do is different. So I'll still say both are doing hard work, even though the terms of the work is different. I think more or less people try to classify the people into either lazy people or people who work hard. But essentially, we need to understand that's not the case. I'll give you a quite good example. Say you have a single mother. She works three jobs at minimum wage to support her kids. She works from morning 9 p.m. to morning 9 a.m. to night 9 p.m. She works for almost 12 hours versus a person who is a CEO of a company. He also works from morning 9 a.m. to night 9 p.m. But if you see, both have put the same level of work, but in terms of the financial success that we talk about, both have received quite a different financial freedom. The single mother barely makes ends meet, while the CEO of the company is free to spend money as he seems fit. Now, especially, we need to understand here that in certain cases, it's the smart work that you do which actually gives you an edge over other people, because essentially I can give the same work to two people. Some person, like, if you know the famous Bill Gates quote, the where he says, "I'd rather hire a lazy person to do a job since he'll probably find the quickest way to do it." Now, as you can see, there's quite a lot of situation where the person will just find a smart way to do it and do it in a much more better and efficient way than a person who has put maybe say 2 3 hours more than the person who did it in the quicker way. Next, we talk about countries like India, right, where it's mostly a capitalist regime which is here. And in certain situations, you see most businessmen, most companies which start, they are of people who already have money. And you see opportunities are created from money itself. So actually, finding the financial success proved difficult to quite a few. Obviously, we have differentiated how hard work, how financial success is different. Now, the essence is that why we find the regret, why it's bad that people follow this narrative. We need to understand that when we say that you need to work hard to achieve that financial success, you are promoting a culture where people are forced to work non-stop without any level of success. This hustle culture, which is so called in this millennia, for Gen Z, for millennials, continue to work hard, and at the end of the day they'll work from morning to night and they don't have any time for themselves. This usually ends up having a negative adverse effect on the mental health, and these people don't see any results. A very good example of this, which is a bit different from financial success, is the JE examinations. You see people, there are two people who will work for the same amount of hours, but one person gets above the other person. Why is this? It's because one person might just be a bit smarter than the other person, or that person would get a better or easier question paper, which is again the circumstance that we talked about. At the end of the day, people need to change the culture which is propagated and change the narrative in which they're more focused to work towards something which they actually like and take out time for themselves than force themselves to work for something which they do. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker from the opposition to put forward their case. Opposition, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Actually, I can't turn my camera on because there is some issue with my camera. Is it okay?
Opposition, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. You can start the timer. Okay, so to start with, future financial success is one of the greatest reason why people are working hard right now. And there are various reasons why people are working hard, and the financial success, the definition of financial success differs to people, from people to people. For some, financial success may be amassing a dollar fortune. For others, it may be affording a few of life luxuries, and for many others, maybe as good as even just breaking even. So, working diligently and consistently can help anyone accumulate sufficient wealth as well as achieve greatness in life. Let's take an example of Bill Gates, a college dropout that turned to become the richest man in the world because of his perseverance to achieve in his life. Working towards the dream is a real challenge, but those who will pursue can expect an extraordinary results. And what I'm trying to say here is that, the preposition said that not only hard work, there should be luck and the planning. But as it has been said, if you do not work hard, how will you know how lucky you are? So people should there has been a misconception in the youth that they're choosing working smart over working hard because they're associating hard working with backbreaking work, drudgery, tough grind, or long haul. Whereas hard work is associated with diligence, dedication, sacrifice, vision, persistence, determination, and foresight. So while indeed hard work will be hard for everyone, it doesn't have to be painful. With an exciting vision to work towards and the foresight to hard work can be blissfully and totally rewarding. The next thing I'll be talking about is that working smart, but working smart, not hard. But how do we know that it really helps? Does smart work bring you success? And so then, why are so many of us still busy putting our blood and sweat into working hard to reach our goals? The reason is that smart work cannot be applied in every work field. Okay, and there is no certainty that you'll achieve success by only working smart, whereas hard work is universal. And it is true that hard work is universal because, to be more specific, for ordinary workers, through this method, they can create a better performance and thus earn higher salaries, since in the most company salaries are determined. In addition to this, it is possible by devoting time to their work, identifying and recruiting the talent, focusing on delivering products or services that cater to needs of the customer. So to attain financial success, one cannot smart work because it requires hard work and sacrifices initially. You should have the basic knowledge. To have the basic knowledge, you need to work hard. It requires experience to earn the financial success. So, to attain financial success. In the conclusion, I'll say that it cannot be applied to every and there is no certainty. So financial success does require hard work. There is no success. There is no shortcut to success. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now with that done, we'll move on to the rebuttal round. This will be 8 minutes long and it starts with a question from the opposition. Proposition will take it up and they'll ask another question in turn. No cross questioning, cross talk or follow up questions will be allowed. And if you feel that your question wasn't addressed properly, that will be taken care by the chair in the verdict. Also, please keep your questions short and to the point. With that done, opposition, you can go ahead and ask your first question.
Yes, sure. I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my first question for the opposition is that the opposition mentioned the word smart word in their argument. I am very curious to know that, for example, I'm giving them that if I'm a doctor and I want financial success now, how can I bring financial success through this smart work?
I'll just take
Yeah.
this up. I think I mentioned in my speech as well. It's only certain situations where you can actually bring the smart work into play. Obviously, you have to be smart about where you are putting in the smart work, where you are cutting corners, and you also need to understand where is the situation which requires you to actually put in the hard work. Now, if you are like a person like a doctor, you can't do smart work because you end up affecting someone else's life. But in a situation which requires you to maybe develop an app, say, or maybe develop some other application as a whole, those are the places where you think about how smartly you can tackle a problem. So that you need to understand difference in the situations which require you to act accordingly. Jeet, if you want to add.
I have a question for the opposition. So the motion states that hard work will lead to financial success. don't you think that is too one-dimensional? This narrative is too one-dimensional. What about the hundreds of circumstances that actually affect success? And don't you think this narrative would actually demotivate people who still fail after hard work?
Yes. So the thing is that, in every circumstances that we face for attaining any success, be it educational, financial, any success, in each and every step, hard work is required. What people have in mind is that, first we'll do hard work, then we will sit aram se. That's not the case. If you are going for financial success, then for reaching that pinnacle itself, you have to work hard at every point. And if you have circumstances, you have certain incidents in your life that you want to overcome, then it can be overcome only through hard work, right? No one can just come to you and say, okay, come on, give me your hand, and I will take you away and things like that. You have to work hard for it. And it's not hundreds of people are you said that, in these situations, but they people realize this, that they have to work hard. No one is coming out there to help them. We have to be our own helpers by doing hard work. So that's my answer to your question. My other question would be, can you specify very briefly how can smart work replace hard work?
See, I would like to specify that what we are trying to prove here is that we regret the narrative that hard work always leads to financial success. And yes, hard work is important, but what is smart work, right? Hard work, the narrative that has been spun around hard work leading to success, that hours and back-breaking, soul-crushing hard work is going to lead to success. And if we do not put in so many hours, we are not going to attain success. That's what a lot of us have been taught since a childhood. When we gave the JE, we were told you have to study for 12 hours a day. What we are saying is smart work is different. Maybe we can compartmentalize our work. Maybe we can take some time apart for ourselves too. Keep our mental health intact. That is smart work, not just putting in the hours all the time. So this is the distinction between smart work and hard work. Thank you. That's my answer.
I have a question for the opposition. So, the first speaker quite mentioned that hard work is not just the back-breaking, soul-crushing hours, but it's also about dedication, diligence, and sacrifice that a person makes. So, going back to the example which I told in my speech itself about a single mother who works 3 jobs to support her kids and works the same amount of time as a CEO, do you think that she doesn't have the dedication, diligence, and sacrifice which she makes for to earn that small amount of money? Do you think it's different for the people who earn a lesser amount than the people who earn a huge amount? Don't you think all these people will be putting in the same amount of dedication, diligence, or sacrifice?
Uh, to answer your question, I'm not saying that she's not, diligent enough towards her success or something like that. But your point of that, my point is that financial success doesn't mean being a billionaire for everyone. For the mother that you're talking about, financial success could very well mean having her wages, giving out her loans, paying out the students, paying out her child's fees. That's it. That could very well mean financial success for her, and she can be very well happy just with this financial success. That doesn't mean that everyone has to be as rich, and everyone has to be a CEO for that. So just by looking at a person's circumstance, we can't say, oh, you know what, that lady works so hard, even then she doesn't have any financial success. How come? We can't know that for certain, right? Maybe she is happy, maybe she is attaining her own financial success, so we can't be certain about that. And the CEO who is earning more, I would like to add that. Uh, okay, I have answered your question. Let's just into this. I think we won't have time for 2 questions. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
If the opposition doesn't have a question, I have a question for them.
Okay, sure. Go on with it.
So, essentially, we talk about the negative culture which is being portrayed about hard work. So, don't you think it's quite negative in the way how hard work is actually portrayed? And don't you think it takes a negative and huge emotional toll on the people who put in dedication, diligence, and sacrifice, but still don't get any results.
See, the thing is that whole world is not depressed, right? People put in hard work, they get the fruit of their hard work, they get happy, right? If that wasn't the case, if you're saying that so many people are not getting their fruits and all that, half of the world would be depressed by now. So you saying that we are portraying a negative image? No, the image is not negative. The image is very clear. You work hard, you gain profits. But sometimes there are times that when you work hard, you fail. But that doesn't mean that you let go of the hard work just because you are failing. That's not right, right? So if suppose a child is in fourth standard or something, and we say to him that oh, you failed fourth standard in spite of doing hard work. So what are we actually inculcating in him is कि hard work छोड़ो, you do the smart work, you do cheating or copying anything that you want. We can't inculcate that in him. That would be much more negative than telling him, oh, you know what, work hard again. So that's my answer to your question.
Good. We don't have any more questions.
Harshita, do you have any question?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Do you have any question?
No, I think all of the questions have been answered.
Okay, I have one question.
Actually, there are only 18 seconds left. Chair, would you allow one more question? Chair? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
I guess we can go ahead and ask the question. I don't
Okay.
think chair is available.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you. The opposition in his debate mentioned that, smart work doesn't apply to every field. So what about the field that can't do smart work? Don't you think that then there would be inequality that, some amount of people are working hard for financial success and some are just taking the shortcuts?
Yeah. See, we again like to reiterate that you're talking about smart work a lot. Smart work, we are saying we are not calling it a substitute for hard work. We are saying that we regret the narrative that only hard work will lead you to financial success. So yeah, there might be some fields where you have to work hard. Even their circumstances might deter you from financial success. But I think a blanket statement saying that, hey, if you don't work hard, you are not going to be financially successful is not good for people and people overall. That is the point we're trying to make.
And just adding on to this, if you remember the definition which we told about success, you require hard work, you require luck and circumstance, and the last and the most important thing, which is also the answer to this question, is that you require talent. If in the situation where a person is not able to work smartly, that situation requires that person to actually have talent to do that specific way, in a way which gives him the financial freedom. If that person is not or doesn't have the talent, obviously not discriminating against those people even putting in those hours, but if he doesn't have this talent, then he simply won't be reaching the level of success which he wants to. So with that, the point stays. Thank you.
Thank you, speakers. Now I'd like to invite the second speaker from the proposition to put their case forward. Speaker, whenever you are ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. So far in the debate, what we have seen is that the proposition, my partner and I have successfully tried our best to establish that we regret the narrative that hard work leads to financial success. And why do we regret it? I'll give you a story. When we what is considered to be the precursor of financial success, especially in our country, IIT. So when we go into Fitji and Allen in these coaching centers, we are told you'll have to work 12 to 13 hours a day you'll have to put all your time. You can't pursue any hobbies for this year. You can't do what you like. You can't take time for yourself. This is what we are told. And this continues in the corporate life, right? And this is the narrative that we are regretting, that hard work has to lead to financial success. Hard work is very important, and this is what the opposition has done. They have established very well that hard work is very important for financial success. It is, I would say, it is irreplaceable. And I agree, hard work has always been important in an economy, but the narrative that it will always lead to financial success is what is bogging us all down. I'll give you an example. 2008, the housing crisis of 2008 in US, which had caused so many people to lose their jobs. The 2000 dot-com bubble crisis, which had caused so many companies built through hard work to collapse to the ground. Think of that. Those people worked hard. They did get financial success for that small period of time, but then it all came crashing down due to circumstance, due to luck. So yes, hard work does get you financial success, but the narrative that it will always get you financial success is wrong, because circumstance plays a huge role. Now let's go back to what the opposition keeps stressing on, the term that we use, smart work. I'll tell you what smart work means. Smart work can be done when there is talent. Smart work is usually done when there's talent. Again, we talk about JE, where a person can study less, might study smartly. For example, let's talk about financial success, right? A person who works throughout the day at his job, and a person in the same job who works less than him but invests his money well, might turn out to be more successful than the financially successful than the previous guy. And this is what we're talking about. Smart work here means, in the financial sense, it might mean investing your money well. In the financial sense, it might mean curtailing your expenses. It does not mean that you put in hours and hours and hours. And that is what we regret. That is what we are establishing, that the house is going to regret the narrative that hard work always leads to financial success. And I'd like to give you a very good example of what this narrative has done. The opposition said that not everyone is depressed. Yeah, definitely not everyone is depressed, but a sizable chunk of people are suffering from mental health issues. And even a more sizable chunk of that chunk is caused due to the so-called hustle culture that is propagated through media, that is propagated through YouTube, and through everything. What is hustle culture? Hustle culture tells us that you have to work hard every second, and you have to work so hard that you leave aside everything else. You keep your mental health aside, you keep your hobbies aside, you keep it aside. You have to work and work and work towards the goal, and then you'll become rich. Okay, but sometimes you don't, right? And that is what we regret. The hustle culture bogs down people's mental health. Sometimes you work and you work and you don't get the results. And this is where this narrative comes in. You think, I have worked hard, why am I not getting the results? I put in hours and hours, why am I not getting the results? That's because maybe you don't have the circumstances, or even a worst case, maybe you are not good enough to do what you are doing right now. You have to change your path, right? This narrative today is bogging down so many kids worldwide, where from their childhood, they are put into so many classes, and they barely have any time to just play around, to read what they like, to talk to their parents. They're put into this class and that class, and that continues into corporate world for financial success, right? People have to work overtime. People have to work very hard to get like the same salary that the other people are getting, just to like expect a promotion. So this is the reality right now. To conclude, the proposition state that the House should regret this narrative, as it has caused I would call it a mental health pandemic worldwide, propagated hustle culture, and it is, even though it is true hard work is important for success, it is not the only determinant, and it does not always lead to success, financial success in this particular point. Thank you. I rest my case.
Thank you, Speaker. Chair, I just wanted to make sure you're connected with us. Chair?
Mother, I think you can hold on to the timer and give them a call.
Yeah, just a second, guys.
Arjun has told on the OT group that he's having awful internet issues. We'll try to get him back soon.
Really sorry for that, guys. So I would like to invite the second speaker from the opposition to put their case forward. Opposition, when we are ready.
Yes, I'm ready. The first proposition talked about three: hard work, luck, and talent. Okay, hard work is there. I'm saying that hard work is in the root of luck and talent itself. I'll tell you how. For example, if let us assume that I am a writer. Okay, I have talent. I am good at writing. But how can I be an exceptional writer? Because each and every writer that is out there, each and every one of them has talent. So does that mean that each and everyone will gain financial success and she will be an exceptional writer? No, I have to work hard on my talent. Same goes for everyone. If, for example, if someone has interest in computer applications or something like that, he has to work hard on it. Na? He just can't say, you know what, I have this talent inside of me. I can just gain financial success just like this. No, for each and every talent, you have to put in hard work. And the example that they gave of JEE students and all of those, I would like to say that the students that are passing out, even they are putting hard work. They are putting much more hard work than the ones who are failing. And their worry about this depressing culture is right, but it is not because of people of this notion that we saying people that do hard work and you will gain financial success. I think it is because of the thing that we are failing at convincing people that to accept your failure is also a part of your hard work. This is what we are failing at. This is why there is so much of depression among people, not because of the notion that hard work will give you financial success. We are failing at convincing people, at making them realize that failure is also a step for your hard work. And if you fail, that doesn't mean that you have to let go of your hard work or your hard work was wrong. It just means that you have to begin where you have stopped. Begin again, do your hard work again, and you will attain financial success then. And the second one was luck. My as the point was raised by my partner that if you don't do hard work, then how come you will know that you're lucky or not, right? And this term of this notion that we're arguing on, it applies to everyone, each and every work culture. But the replacement, not the replacement, but the terms that my opposition are saying, it doesn't apply to each and every field, right? So if I am a school teacher and I want to say to my fourth standard kid that, you know what, there is a way to attain financial success. How am I going to convey this to him? I will have to say this to him that, you know what, hard work is the only way to financial success. If I don't say this to him and he is in college tomorrow, he will go and start looting people, as so many people are done, and educated people are doing this. But this is the notion of smart work. So the notion of smart work is not very defined in terms. So I have to say this to him now that, you know what, if you do hard work, you will gain financial success. So there is no replacement to hard work. So there is why if we say that, you know, financial in this notion, if we replace hard work, then there is nothing that we can put in this notion. In if we replace this term of hard work, and today's youth is being misdirected that if you do if you see short works and all of these things, so you will gain financial success. But and the proposition gave an example of CEO. I would like to add that the CEO is at the pinnacle of his success because of his hard work. you know the position of CEO was not just dropped into his lap, right? And more important point is, financial success doesn't mean being a billionaire for everyone, at least for me. It doesn't mean that you have to be a billionaire for attaining financial success. It can be very, very vast, the definition of financial success for each and every individual. But if we say that okay, that you have to do hard work, through this we are also teaching him that in this hard work comes your experience as well. The, uh, the creativeness, the learning that he will learn from hard work will actually help him in gaining financial success. I think that people nowadays have narrowed hard work to just studying and going to work and all of these things. This is just not hard work. Hard work, the range of doing hard work is very vast. So that is my point, that hard work is a very hard work is the only way to gain financial success. And more importantly, this trend of this notion that the house regrets cannot be applied to every field. We can't say this to a doctor, right? But we can very well say this to each and every field, and this notion can be applied not just to financial success but each and every success. So that is why I am opposing this notion. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now we'll be moving on with the concluding statements. Please note that you're not allowed to bring up any new arguments here. Starting with the proposition, whenever you're ready.
Just give me a few seconds. Good. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. As we come to the conclusion of this debate, I'd once again like to stress on what we actually mean by financial success, because I think that's something which is quite ambiguous even at this point for the opposition house as well. When we talk about financial success, for most people, for majority of the people in society, it's when you get a huge amount of money. Now, obviously, what we say when we talk about this motion is about the culture which is being propagated already to the people. When people talk about working hard, the opposition feels that people are misdirected, and they say that the range of doing hard work to gain success is the only way. But what we are trying to say here, when you talk about financial success, there's multiple myriad of ways where you reach the final endpoint, and you have multiple parallels through which you go there, and hard work is just one of the parallel lines there. Now when we talk about actually going to the financial freedom, right, you have this certain situation. For example, the opposition house said, how would you know you are lucky or not if you do not work hard? But I'll just give a short example here. For example, you are traveling in a train one day and you talk to the person sitting next to you. Quite a hypothetical situation, but something which is probable, more or less. Now, this person, you start talking to the person, you will realize that he is the CEO of quite a huge company. You talk to that person, person asks you about the job. You say you don't have a job. And once the conversation ends, this person ends up giving you a job. And once you got the job, this is the circumstance which we talked about. He is lucky that he was at the right place at the right time, that he got the job. Once he has found the right circumstance, he starts working hard, post which he starts making the financial freedom as a financial success. Sorry. As you can see in this hypothetical scenario, it's quite obvious that since the person required that right circumstance, right thing to hit, wherein post which he was able to put in the hard work, which is something which we are stressing again. Yet again, the opposition house said that CEO is at the pinnacle of his career. And yeah, agreed, he is obviously at the pinnacle of his career. That's why he has so much financial success. But what we were trying to compare there is the work which is being put in by the CEO versus a person who is able to put in the same hours of work same amount of diligence, same amount of sacrifice, but is not quite able to reach that level of financial success. With that, we basically like to show that the culture which is being propagated through this, and the notion that hard work is the only way to achieve your financial success isn't the way to go. And more or less, it's the people's mentality which should change to propagate a much more healthier culture which promotes much more people being actually successful. With that, I raise my case. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. I would like to call upon the speaker from the opposition to put forward the concluding statements. Whenever you're ready.
Yes. Yeah, I'm ready. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Whenever you're ready, I'll start the timer.
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so let me just briefly state some points. To reach the pinnacle of financial success, you have to work hard because there is really no shortcut to success. And like the speaker in preposition said that the hustle culture is being promoted, and despite of this, people are not achieving their goal. So we need to understand that hard work should be associated with more of a progressive and smart approach to life rather than painful and exhausting exercise, because it's just because hard work is just not about innovation or creativity. It's more of accepting failure and learning from it. So hard work is about consistency and not being worried about the result, using any means to reduce our hard work. And the notion where it says that does hard work leads to financial freedom, and is it still part of the recipe? Yes, it is. In fact, it's the most crucial ingredient in attaining financial success. And to gain financial freedom, it does require hard work and sacrifice. And there's really no shortcut to that. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. With that speech, we have come to an end of this debate. Chair, would you like to take some time before we give out the verdict?
Just give me a second to collect my thoughts.
Also, Chair, would you like to take a view at the stream in case you missed any of the part of the debate?
Oh no, that's fine. Just give me 1 second. I need to coalesce my thoughts and then I'll. Okay, I think I'm going to give my verdict now. So before I give my verdict, I think it's imperative for everyone. And if I'm not audible, please I'll swap to. Hello.
Yeah, you're not audible, Arjun.
I'm not
We
audible.
can't hear you.
Okay, let me swap to my PC for 1 second.
Yeah.
Hi, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, brilliant. Let's start with the oral education. I'll give the verdict out in a second. I think overall, when it comes to the quality of the debate, I think because of a simpler motion, certain ideas that needed to come out, certain ideas and definitions that needed to come out to set the context of the debate, at least naturally flowed out, and and therefore I think at least compared to what we've seen in previous rounds, there wasn't that much confusion about, say, engagement problems, and I think the debate naturally coalesces into one big idea. With that said, I think because of the wording of the motion, or at least because of the interpretation of the motion, there's a structural issue where both sides are trying to prove different things. When the motion is that this house regrets the idea that hard work leads to financial success, there's multiple ways to interpret it. First of all, what is the idea of financial success here? Because that is a relative tool. But if you're just considering financial success here to be an arbitrary metric of, say, personal, social, fiscal happiness, instead of say like living under the idea of this prototypical not middle management, but like managerial esque era at, like, say, at a fast food chain or whatever, at least if you're talking in a Western sense. And if you're going to be putting, say, getting to a respectable firm, a respectable position, and managing to climb through your own apparatus, that is to say, your own innate ability and your own innate ability to maximize on your potential, then that can also be considered to be financial success. And for the ambit of the debate, that is what we're going to be considering financial success to be. With that said, I think very narrowly, and I do mean very, very narrowly, I think government takes this debate for the following reasons. And this is such a big structural issue, and this is why this debate is such a mess to judge. Government comes in essentially tells us that, look, hard work is a requisite recipe for success, but it is not the only recipe for success. That is to say, if you can have certain kind of nepotistic connections, and these are not the words you're using, these I'm filling in right now, but these are the ideas that are being purported. There's certain nepotistic ideas, there's certain factors, there's certain luck that helps you get into where you are, and this ends up creating depressive episodes because sometimes people just have more resources than you, sometimes people are just luckier than you, and the world is an unfair place that does not essentially that does not particularly care about the amount of work that you put into something to really blow it up. Someone who is doing significantly less work than you but has been born under more favorable circumstances can, of course, like, bloom and zoom past you in what is the traditional, almost patriarchal understanding of financial success. On the other hand, we have opposition coming in saying that no hard work is a prerequisite to financial success, in the context that if you are someone who does not have those connections, and this is not what they're saying, but the arguments are framed in the ambit that if you are someone under the circumstances who has the potential, who can maximize the potential, then hard work is a necessary recipe for success. Both of you are correct here. Both of you are correct in the context that generally speaking, there's going to be a lot more ways. Generally speaking, there's going to be a lot more ways to, like, get really successful or become more successful than your peers, which is, like, primarily dependent on luck. We see this all the time in, say, like, top MBA schools, which you, generally speaking, like, require either alum connections or, like, rich parents. Or for instance, even just having money to afford like expensive private tuitions for JEE puts you at a competitive edge. Of course, your hard work is still required there, but the circumstances do end up heavily dictating where in life do you end up, or where in life are you, like, set for that kind of financial success. And the issue here becomes, I don't think opposition has a proper rebuttal for this, because I think opposition then tries to, like, tangle around what the idea of hard work is, because government is coming and giving some kind of at least some kind of perceived idea that, look, hard work does not, like, necessarily always push you to where you need to be, and there's many different factors that can create this, like, sort of depressive state over people who have been, like, fed this lie that hard work is going to be the number one metric to climb you to the top. Opposition is coming and saying, no, but hard work is the only metric. Hard work is, like, the biggest metric. If you're not working hard, you're not going to accept your potential. And hard work is the ability to understand that your failures are a part of who you are, and therefore you need to persevere. Hard work is consistency. I think this becomes a problem because opposition is not addressing government's idea that some people are put into better life tracks to succeed. I think a good way to, generally speaking, counter this would be to talk about, like, different. I'm having a tongue twist here. I think a good way to, like, sort of answer this in general would be to sort of talk about the maximal potential of someone, or at least frame the debate within the ambit that there's a maximal potential. For instance, some people are always going to be said to succeed better than others. Coming and conceding that, and because that is a truth that is not going to like sort of stand, and because you're trying to argue against it, you sort of weave this web that you can't like escape out of. Coming and conceding the fact that yeah, people are born under different circumstances, but to maximize your earnings potential or to maximize traditional financial success, the kind of hard work that you put in is necessary. And I think that is one issue that opposition never addresses. And I think the second opposition addresses, they sort of bungle themselves trying to talk about the relation between hard work and smart work, or how smart work comes later. I don't think any of that was I don't think any of that was particularly relevant to the debate, or even any contributed any material. On government side, while I do appreciate that there's at least an understanding that they came up, they at least like purported the scenario on how traditional financial success, or at least within the framing of the debate, helps people succeed. I think I would have. I think any of these arguments would have coalesced a lot better with with at least some kind of understanding that the different types of work don't necessarily have to pay the same. For instance, I think the example that you gave of CEOs and single mothers working 12 hours a day but having different kinds of success metrics of successes, I think that's something opposition actually hammered you on. And because the arguments, at least from the start, because they were shaky, I think that's the more appropriate word to use, because they were shaky at best, you actually gave opposition a lot of ammo to come in directly counter and say that, hey, but this isn't exactly financial success. This is once you already sort of climbed to where you need to be, etc. And of course, there's going to be like an earnings disparity within different positions. You can't expect everyone to be earning the same, unless you're a socialist, but like that's different. And therefore, I think that like left you wide open to certain countermeasures when it comes to argumentation. It's a very close debate. It's a very close debate because it's a very confusing debate. And I think a lot of framing from either of the sides would have really helped coalesce this debate into something that would have been an enjoyable discussion, but it goes a little awry, and therefore at this point we have to like come and look at it ourselves, or at least try to figure out where the agreements are, or what the two houses are agreeing on, and frame the debate around that. Any questions?
A small question. So, like you talked about how essentially since it's not just a hard work, what we portrayed was some sort of nepotist situations which might occur. So, like I just wanted to know which part of a speech indicated that, because that was not exactly what we were going for when we said there
You
were
guys won though.
circumstances.
You guys won though.
Yeah. I just had
No. The point of your speech is that like really pushed this idea is that there are many different circumstances that people succeed in. That is to say, hard work is not the only hard work is not the only
So
place that
basically,
you
you're just
succeed in.
filling in some of the situations.
Yeah,
All right.
that's why I explicitly mentioned it. If you guys are going to come
Understood.
and if you guys are going to come and say that, hey, look, if you're like sitting adjacent to a plane, or if it's the people you know, etc., they're helping you climb. That is the same as a nepotistic situation. I'm just like coalescing. I'm coalescing all of that into what it actually means. But okay, cool.
Understood. Yeah.
Great. Any other questions? If you guys need any tips, hints about the motion, if you want to talk about the motion, if you need advice going forward within this tournament, if you need to know that, I'll happily answer that as well.
I have a question.
Yep.
Since you said that our side didn't have that much of better arguments, I agree. I agree with you. Can you suggest us something better that we would have done in this argument, in this debate? Sorry.
I think I mentioned in my OA, right? But the primary argument, and this is a motion that we've done many times, and a very surefire way to win this motion. And of course, it's okay if you don't really know it, but you have to understand, right? When you're going to starting thinking about this motion, that is to say, it's telling that, oh look, we do not regret this notion of hard work that's been put into people. We want them to maximize the potential, and opposition's coming in outright saying that no, look, there's many different circumstances that people can succeed in, and therefore having this culture of hard work put into them. Having this culture of hard work put into them is not necessarily true, because a lot of people will still not see the kind of success that they deserve because of how I suppose our this notion of like a capitalist or not a capitalist, okay, or basically how the world works. I think a very, very simple way to counter this would have been to say that, yeah, true. It's yeah, we understand that, like, we understand that, like, there's going to be many different circumstances that people are going to have. Someone who's been born in, say, a village in Uttar Pradesh is not going to have the same opportunities or some upper middle class sobo asshole from Mumbai or whatever, right? So they're not going to have the same opportunities, and of course, one of them is going to always have one of them is going to not have the innate potential for financial success, but they'll have an external potential, that is to say, a potential that's not relevant to them. An external potential can be the wealth your parents have, the position your dad has in a company. Does your dad own a business? Have you been? Do you have enough monetary gains to, like, sort of push ahead? And you have to understand that there's always going to be difference in that. There's always going to be difference in that, and therefore a good way to sort of argue this is to come and say outright that, sure, we agree. Different people have different different earning potentials. We understand that luck is always going to be a big factor. But if you want to capitalize on the circumstances that have been given to you, hard work needs to be the actual recipe that is going to push you forward. Because if you're born under circumstances without much innate or external potential, then without hard work you're bound to fail. But at least with hard work, there's chances that any of the potential that you have, that has been sort of granted to you, and I think that's from a natural sense, you can maximize it. I think a good argument here is maximizing your natural potential, be it internal potential or external potential. Framing the debate in that the debate in that ambit sort of throws a bone to sort of throws a bone to government, and the government then has to answer this fact that, government now has to answer, why do we think hard work is not like a necessary metric here? And it sort of like takes a game to them. So I think that's a good way of framing the debate. We call it framing a motion. Cool. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
All right, perfect. Are we done here?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I
that
think
was
yeah.
Congratulations, guys. Shreyam and Jeet. That was a great debate. A pretty close one. So with this, sorry,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just closing up. Do you want to say something?
No. I was looking at this guy's Gojo profile picture. Don't worry about it. It's nothing relevant to the debate.
So with that, guys, we have come to an end of day 7 semi-finale of Debatables 2.0. Thank you, speakers, and thank you, Chair, for joining us today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Hello. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.